Okay, Mo, thanks again for having us. Couple quick recap on last week. And first of all, Darren Gibson scores a cracking winner for Everton against Man City, and duly helps his former club Man United in the process. On the same day then, Keith Andrews slaps in a transfer request and gets the move he wants to West Brom. It makes it very interesting in the Irish midfield now.
Yes, I mean, Darren Gibson, I don't rate him as a player, and I hope he's not in the squad to go to the Euro finals. But he's playing Premier League football with Everton now, so he has to be considered. He scored a good goal, a very important goal in the context of the Manchester battle for the title. But his overall game, for me, doesn't merit inclusion in the squad. He scores about 5 or 6 spectacular goals a year. This is one of them. But his general play isn't up to it, in my view. So I don't think it changes anything. I think there are other players that deserve to be ahead of him. Houlihan, who's playing really well for Norwich. Clark, who's back in the Aston Villa side. Both of them are midfield players. So I think Darren Gibson will be blessed if he gets into the squad. What he has going for him is that Trapattoni, he has been a squad member, and Trapattoni tends not to change. But if he's watching what's happening with these other players, which I doubt if he is, unfortunately, then I think there'll be people higher up the list than Darren Gibson.
Okay. And who will play alongside Glenn Whelan, do you think?
Well, Keith Andrews has had a good move to West Brom, which is really encouraging, and they spent $5 million on him, so it gets him out of the hole he was in at Blackburn, where he wasn't in the squad and he was out on loan. I think going to West Brom will give him a new lease of life. I think that's good from Ireland's point of view, and I think it's almost certain that Trapattoni will start the first game against Croatia with Whelan and Andrews in midfield, regardless of their form even at the time, because Andrews hasn't really been in form for his clubs, but he still started in the team. That's the way Trapattoni is. He's not going to change at this stage, so I would expect Whelan and Andrews to be the midfield pair.
And then those midweek results really threw the title race back open again, didn't they?
Yes, I mean, Manchester City, as I think we've discussed over recent weeks, I don't think they have the bottle for it, to be honest. Mancini, I don't rate him as a coach, and I think they were quite badly exposed by Everton, and indeed in recent weeks Liverpool have exposed them also. I don't think they have unity as a team, and I think when it comes to the really intense period, March, April, beginning of May, when the Premier League will be decided, if Manchester United are close enough to them, and they are now, bad and all as United are playing by their standards, I think City might bottle it.
Okay. And Robbie Keane described Richard Dunn's performance in Moscow as one of the best performances ever put in by an Irish player in an international. What's your opinion, and what other great performances will come to mind?
Well, certainly I thought Richard Dunn's performance in Moscow was extraordinary, and I think everybody recognises that. There have been other great performances in the past. Paul McGrath in Giant Stadium in 1994 against Italy. In fact, the whole team that day, with Paul in particular. Roy Keane on many occasions. Against Holland, I remember a game at Lansdowne Road which we needed to win to be sure of qualifying for the World Cup in 2002. Keane was immense in so many occasions for Ireland. Keane was immense. Liam Brady has played many great games for Ireland, and John Giles in their time. So there's kind of Shay Given is another player in the presence side who's, you know, performed amazingly well for Ireland, and did indeed on that day in Moscow. So there are, it's quite something to say that Richard's performance in Moscow was the best ever. I think what I'd say is I've never seen anything better than it. But you could say that about Roy Keane on other occasions, and Paul McGrath, Giles and Brady as well. So it's an illustrious group that Richard Dunn is in. He deserves to be in it.
Okay. And then getting down to business, what would be your biggest bankers for the weekend and week ahead? Well,
there's some very interesting matches this week. Chelsea are at home to Manchester United on Sunday. Liverpool are at home to Tottenham on Monday night. I still want to stick with the draws, the 3 draws, because I think that we'll win in the end. And doubles and trebles. So the first one would be Stoke against Sunderland. Martin O'Neill has done amazingly well at Sunderland. They go away to play Stoke this week. Now, they don't have a great side, Sunderland. I watched them on Wednesday night beat Norwich comfortably. But what they have got is a great attitude. Martin O'Neill has injected attitude into the team. They're well organised. I think they'll go to Stoke. I think it'll be a battle. And I think there's a very good chance that it will be a draw. Now, my second draw, I think, is a local derby, Wigan against Everton. Everton had a great result against Manchester City, but they're struggling for players. They lost another player this week to Tottenham, Louis Saha. I think Wigan and Everton, local derby, will be a very tight match, very hard to call. Wigan are at the bottom of the table, but they are not as bad as that makes them look. And I think that's highly likely to be a draw as well. And the third match I'd go for would be the Chelsea-Man United match. I don't think Manchester United, despite winning at the Emirates against Arsenal, I don't think they're playing as well as they can play. I think it's a very big match for Chelsea, and I see a distinct possibility that that could be a draw. So I would recommend 3 doubles and a treble. Stoke, Sunderland, Chelsea, Manchester United, and Wigan and Everton. And there's a Monday night game which is really interesting. Liverpool at home to Tottenham. Liverpool are 11-10 to win that match, and I think that's not a bad bet. If you have to have a bet on Monday night, I would say Liverpool to beat Tottenham would be the bet.
Great, brilliant, and thanks again, and we'll see you next week.